Joining us now is former federal prosecutor Neama Rahmani. Neama, I want to start with some recent comments from Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. He was speaking about the border influx. So let's start there.
Our borders are not open. People who cross our border unlawfully and without a legal basis to remain will be promptly processed and removed.
Would the lawful process speak to people who enter at ports of entry, or is it something else? How do you think this is going to play out?
Well, Lauren, I know Ali Mayorkas very well. He actually hired me out of law school more than 20 years ago. So, I would have to respectfully disagree with him not because of anything he says or anything we're doing on the U.S. side, but you're talking about tens of thousands of people who, frankly, are coming to the United States hoping for a better life for economic reasons. And, obviously Title 22 has gone away, so they're going to take every opportunity to apply for asylum. And if they don't get it, to try to potentially cross into the United States unlawfully, really by any means to get here.
Yeah, I love it. You're like, it's not personal, but respectfully, this is how I think this will go. From the legal perspective, where do migrants that entered through a port stand? I mean, can they work, or are they in limbo? What happens to them?
Well, to enter through a port, they at least have a chance. If you enter without inspection, you cross in unlawfully, you don't. I mean, the issue that they're going to deal with, though, is if they are applying for asylum, you're really supposed to apply in the first country that you're safe. So usually that's not the United States. If you're coming from Central America or you're coming from Venezuela, that's probably going to be Mexico or some other country on the way north. For the folks that, do want to apply and come through the legal process, it's going to take months or years. So you're not going to just show up at the port of entry in San Diego or Albuquerque or El Paso and be able to come to the United States and work lawfully.
Yeah. Mayorkas also recently announced a new program that required migrant adults that cross unlawfully with minors to wear GPS monitors and comply with curfew. How exactly would this work? I mean, especially with people that we see lined up in streets of cities like El Paso.
I don't think it's going to work, frankly, because again, you have folks who, are going to want to come to the United States or going to want to make money, right? They don't have family here. They don't have a whole lot of support. So they're not going to be sophisticated enough or have an understanding of the law to follow those types of rules and regulations.
I mean, at this point, do you think anything that the Biden administration has proposed to be able to handle this influx, do you think any part of that will work?
I don't think it's going to work. I mean, the only good thing they've done is send, about 1,500 troops to the border just to help with the huge amount of migrants we expect to see over the coming days, because let's not forget, a lot of these folks have been waiting 3 years. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and we know that the cartels are at play too, because if folks can't come in on their own, they're going to get help from human traffickers.
Yeah, we've got a minute left here. Do you think the surge along the border will ignite both sides of the aisle to consider some sort of immigration reform? Do you see some movement in Congress?
I don't think so, Lauren. We've talked about the legal side, but politically, I mean, they couldn't be farther apart. I mean, obviously, Republicans back to Trump, I mean, for them, the southern border is a huge issue. And when it comes to amnesty or legal immigration, they're not for it at all. And the Democrats, on the other hand, for them, illegal immigration is not something that's a big issue for their base. And frankly, those may be future Democratic votes. So you can't be more apart when you're talking about the immigration issue when you're dealing with Republicans and Democrats right now.
Well, former federal prosecutor Neama Rahmani, thank you so much for your insight on this timely and also long-lasting topic that we have been covering what feels like for way too long now. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.